Jinho opened his eyes slowly and looked around the strange room. Everything was wrong. The walls were purple and curved like the inside of a giant shell. The lights were too bright and made a buzzing sound. Strange smells filled the air, like metal and wet grass mixed together. He was sitting on a cold floor that felt smooth like glass. His hands were not tied, but thick metal bands around his wrists glowed with red light. The bands did not hurt, but they felt heavy and warm against his skin. 3 hours ago, Jinho had been on his research ship with his friends. They were studying space whales near a distant star. The whales were beautiful creatures, bigger than buildings, that swam through space like fish in an ocean. Jinho loved watching them. Then the attack came. Large alien ships appeared from nowhere and started shooting. Jinho's ship exploded in bright flashes of light. He remembered floating in space, waiting to die, when a metal arm grabbed him and pulled him inside one of the alien vessels. Now he was here, in this strange room, surrounded by creatures that looked like nightmares. The aliens were huge, twice as tall as any human. Their bodies were thick and round like tree trunks, but covered in smooth purple skin that looked wet. Long tentacles grew from their shoulders and backs, moving slowly like underwater plants. They had no faces that Jinho could see, just a cluster of small black eyes at the top of their bodies. But the strangest thing was how they acted around him. These giant creatures, clearly strong enough to crush him with one tentacle, were hiding. They pressed themselves against the far walls of the room, as far from Jinho as possible. Some had pushed themselves into corners and were shaking. "Please," one of them said through a small device that translated its words into English. "We mean no harm, human creature. We surrender. Please show mercy." Jinho blinked in confusion. Surrender? They had captured him. He was their prisoner. Why were they asking for mercy? "I don't understand," Jinho said quietly. "You attacked my ship. You brought me here. Why are you afraid?" The aliens made strange whistling sounds that the translator could not change into words. They seemed to be talking to each other, but Jinho could not understand what they were saying. One alien, slightly larger than the others, moved a little closer. But it stopped at least 10 feet away from Jinho and lowered its body close to the floor. "Great Hunter," it said through the translator. "We did not know it was you. We thought your ship was just another human research vessel. We only wanted to study human technology. We never meant to disturb your hunt." "My hunt?" Jinho asked. "I wasn't hunting anything. I was studying whales." The aliens whistled again, more frantically this time. The large one that had spoken seemed to shake even more. "Please do not be angry with us, Still Hunter. We know the legends. We know what you can do. We will release you immediately if you promise not to destroy our ship." Jinho felt very confused and tired. His friends were dead. His ship was gone. He was trapped on an alien vessel with creatures that seemed terrified of him for reasons he could not understand. The sadness hit him like a wave, making his chest feel tight and his eyes burn with unshed tears. He needed to calm down. Needed to think clearly. His grandmother had taught him what to do when he felt overwhelmed like this. "Just breathe, little Jinho," she used to say when he was upset as a child. "Sit still and breathe. Let the bad feelings flow through you like water. Don't try to stop them or fight them. Just breathe and let them pass." So Jinho closed his eyes and began to breathe slowly. In through his nose, counting to 4. Hold for 4 counts. Out through his mouth for 4 counts. His grandmother had called it the 4-breath method. The breathing helped. The tight feeling in his chest began to ease. The burning in his eyes faded. He felt his shoulders relax and his heartbeat slow down. Behind his closed eyes, Jinho could hear the aliens making more of their whistling sounds. But now they sounded even more frightened than before. "He is beginning," one of them whispered in translated English. "The meditation is starting." "How long will it take?" "The legends say it can take days," another replied. "Some say weeks. We must not disturb him or he will wake angry. What if he decides to punish us when he finishes? Then we die. There is nothing we can do now except wait and hope he shows mercy." Jinho kept breathing. He did not understand why these aliens were so scared of him, but he was too tired and sad to worry about it right now. The breathing exercises were helping him deal with the grief of losing his friends. That was all that mattered. He thought about Minsu, who always sang old Korean songs while he worked. About Chae-young, who could fix any machine just by looking at it. About Jin-woo, who made the best noodles in space using the ship's tiny kitchen. They were good people. Good friends. Now they were gone forever, and Jinho was alone with alien creatures who thought he was some kind of dangerous hunter. He breathed in. Breathed out. Let the sadness flow through him without fighting it. Around him, the aliens watched in terrified silence. convinced they were witnessing the beginning of a legendary human hunting ritual that could destroy them all. Jinho kept his eyes closed and remembered the old days. 5 years ago he was just another young scientist working on a space research ship. His job was simple: watch the giant space whales and write down what they did. These whales were bigger than cities and moved slowly between stars. They were beautiful and peaceful, but they scared easily. Dr. Sun He had picked Jinho for the whale team because he could sit still for a long time. Most people get bored and move around, she had told him. But you can wait. The whales need that. So Jinho learned to be very, very still. He would float in his small observation pod for days, watching the whales eat space dust and sing to each other. Sometimes he sat so still that the whales came close enough to touch his pod with their huge fins. His reports made scientists on Earth very happy. But Jinho never knew that alien trading ships were watching him. The first aliens to see him were called the Vortons. They had big yellow eyes and moved their arms all the time when they talked. A Vorton trader named Kel was passing through the whale feeding grounds when he saw something that made him freeze with fear. There was a human sitting perfectly still in space for 3 whole days. Kel watched through his ship's cameras. The human did not eat, did not drink, did not even move his head. For 72 hours the human was like a statue. This is not normal, Kel told his crew. No living thing can be this still. This human must be a hunter. On Vorton worlds the most dangerous hunters were the stone cats. These animals could sit without moving for weeks, waiting for prey. When something came close they would attack faster than lightning. Every Vorton child knew to fear the still hunters. Kel sent a message to the Vorton government. Warning, humans have still hunters. More dangerous than stone cats. Can wait months without moving. The message spread to other alien worlds. Each race had their own still hunters to fear. The bug people called Klaxons were afraid of trapped spiders that never moved until prey stepped on them. The plant people called Verdani feared the silent moss that looked dead until it ate you. Soon, alien databases were full of reports about the human still hunter. They said he could slow his heart until it almost stopped. They said he could live without food for months. They said when he finally moved he could catch anything. But there were no videos of Jinho actually hunting anything. The aliens did not care. They made up stories to fill the empty spaces. A Klaxon merchant claimed he saw Jinho catch a space shark with his bare hands after waiting for 2 weeks. This was not true, but the story spread anyway. A Verdani captain said Jinho once stared at an asteroid until it cracked in half. Also not true, but aliens believed it. The stories grew bigger and scarier. Some aliens said Jinho could kill with his thoughts. Others said he could stop time itself. A few claimed he was not really human at all, but a war machine built to look like one. The truth was much simpler. Jinho was just good at his job. When the whales came to feed he had to be quiet and still or they would swim away. Dr. Minji had taught him meditation to help him stay calm during long watches. His grandmother had taught him breathing exercises to handle stress. These normal human things became legends among the aliens. The worst story started when a young Zephyrian officer named Dohyan saw Jinho's research files. The files showed that Jinho had been tracking large creatures through deep space for extended periods. To Dohyan this sounded like hunting reports. He did not understand that Jinho was studying the whales, not hunting them. Dohyan wrote in his official report, "Human subject tracks prey across multiple star systems. Shows extreme patience and planning. Recommend avoiding all contact." The Zephyrian military took this very seriously. They added Jinho to their list of dangerous humans. They gave him the code name Still Death, and warned their ships to stay away from him. Other alien militaries copied the Zephyrian files. Soon, every major alien power knew about the human who hunted by sitting still. They traded stories and fears about him. Some aliens changed their travel routes to avoid him. Others studied human meditation techniques to try to understand his power. None of them ever tried to simply ask Jinho what he was doing. Meanwhile, Jinho continued his peaceful work. He watched the whales migrate from star to star. He wrote reports about their songs and feeding habits. He sent data back to Earth to help other scientists understand these gentle giants. He had no idea that half the galaxy was afraid of him. The whale research station received strange messages sometimes. Alien traders would offer huge amounts of money for protection services from the Still Death. Pirates would change course when they detected human ships in the area. Some alien planets even created special laws about still hunting because of the stories about Jinho. Dr. Sun He thought it was all very funny. "Jinho," she would say, "you are famous and you do not even know it. But fame can be dangerous when people fear what they do not understand. And now, sitting on the alien bridge, Jinho was learning just how much the galaxy feared the man who could sit perfectly still. The news traveled fast through space. Commander Hayek of the Zephyrian ship sent an emergency message to his fleet. Human still hunter captured. Currently in deep meditation state. All ships maintain safe distance. Within 1 hour, the message reached 12 different alien worlds. Within 2 hours, it had spread to over 100 planets. Each alien race added their own fears to the story as they passed it along. The Klaxon Queen received the message first. Her 6 insect eyes went wide with terror. A still hunter? She clicked to her generals. Those are the most dangerous predators in the universe. Change course immediately. Evacuate all ships from that sector. The Klaxon fleet was the largest in this part of space. 27 massive bug ships turned away from their planned route and jumped to hyperspace. They left so fast that they forgot to tell nearby trading posts why they were running. The Luxari were next to hear the news. These aliens were made of pure energy and never stopped moving. They danced and flowed like living lightning. The idea of a creature that could be perfectly still filled them with deep horror. Still means death, their leader Brightspark told his people. If something does not move, it is preparing to consume everything around it. We must flee before the human wakes up. The Luxari began evacuating 3 entire star systems. They sent warning messages to every ship they could find. Danger. Still hunter active. Evacuate now or face extinction. But not all aliens ran away. Some came closer to see if the stories were true. Captain Borum of the Verdani Collective was curious. Her plant-like people were naturally slow-moving, so they were not as afraid of stillness as other races. She brought her science ship toward the Zephyrian fleet. I want to see this human still hunter for myself, she told her crew. Maybe the stories are lies. More ships arrived every hour. Some came to investigate. Others came to rescue the Zephyrians before the human awakened. A few came just to watch what might be the most dangerous moment in galactic history. The Corvani sent their best warship. The Thex brought their fastest medical vessel in case there were survivors. Even the mysterious Shadari, who usually avoided all other races, sent a small scout ship to observe. Soon, over 50 alien ships were floating in space around the Zephyrian flagship. It looked like the biggest space battle in history was about to start. But instead of fighting each other, all the ships were watching one small human sitting quietly on a bridge. Inside the Zephyrian ship, Jinho had no idea about the chaos outside. He was thinking about his lost friends. Minsa had always made jokes during the long space trips. Chaeyoung had been the best pilot he ever knew. Jinwoo had taught him how to fix the coffee machine when it broke. Now they were all gone and Jinho felt very sad and alone. The breathing exercises his grandmother taught him were helping, but the pain was still there. He breathed in slowly, counted to 4, then breathed out. In and out. Just like she had shown him when he was a scared little boy. The Zephyrians watched every breath with growing fear. His heart rate is dropping again, their doctor reported. He is entering deeper levels of the meditation. Soon he will reach the final stage. Captain Daehoon of the Zephyrian ship was an old warrior. He had fought in 3 galactic wars and faced many dangerous enemies. But he had never seen anything like this. The human had been sitting in the same position for over 4 hours now. No food, no water, no bathroom breaks. Just perfect, terrifying stillness. Sir, his communications officer said, we are getting messages from 47 different ships. They all want to know about the human's condition. Tell them he is still in the meditation state, Daehoon replied. Warn them not to make any sudden movements or loud noises. If we wake him up too early, he might attack everything in sight. This was not true, but Daehoon believed it was true. All the stories about human still hunters said they became extremely dangerous if interrupted during their meditation. Outside, the alien ships kept their engines on low power and their weapon systems turned off. Nobody wanted to be the one who accidentally woke up the legendary still hunter. A Klaxon science vessel arrived with special equipment to measure the human's brain activity. They found that Jinho's mind was in a very calm state. To them, this looked like the brain patterns of a trapped spider right before it struck its prey. Confirmed, the Klaxon scientist reported to the fleet. The human is in pre-attack meditation. All ships should prepare for possible combat. But Jinho was not preparing for combat. He was remembering better times. Like when his research team had discovered a new type of space whale that sang in colors instead of sounds. Or when they had found a whale nursery where baby whales played in the light of a young star. Those had been happy days. Simple days. Now everything was complicated and scary and all his friends were dead. The breathing exercises helped him accept these sad thoughts without being overwhelmed by them. More alien ships kept arriving. The traffic control systems in nearby space stations were going crazy trying to track all the vessels converging on one small area. Some captains were demanding explanations. Others were selling information about this Still Hunter event to news networks. Within 6 hours, half the galaxy knew that something big was happening in the Outer Rim territories. Nobody knew exactly what, but the stories were getting wilder by the minute. And through it all, Jinho just sat and breathed and remembered his friends. The Zephyrian captain looked at the ancient book floating in front of him. The pages were made of metal and covered in old alien writing. His tentacles shook as he read the words about humans. The 1,000-year meditation, he whispered to his science officer. I thought it was just a story. The science officer's eyes were fixed on their screens. Numbers and graphs showed Jinho's body functions. His heart is beating very slowly now, Captain. Only 30 beats per minute. His body temperature has dropped 2 degrees. His brain shows the same patterns we see in deep hibernation. Just like the book says, the captain replied with fear in his voice. The old metal book had been written by the first aliens to meet humans over 200 years ago. Most of it was filled with mistakes and wrong translations. But the Zephyrians believed every word. According to the book, humans could slow their bodies down until they were almost dead. They called this the 1,000-year meditation. The book said humans did this to live longer and become stronger. When they woke up, they had the power to destroy planets with their bare hands. The book also said that humans who did this meditation became perfect hunters. They could sense prey from across star systems. They never missed when they attacked. They felt no pain and showed no mercy. Look at his breathing pattern, the science officer said, pointing at the screen. Exactly 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out. The book describes this exact pattern. It says this is how humans prepare their bodies for the final transformation. None of this was true, but the aliens did not know that. Jinho was simply doing the breathing exercise his grandmother had taught him. She had learned it from her grandmother, who had learned it from a monk at the old temple in their village. It was a simple way to calm down when life became too hard to handle. But to the Zephyrians it looked like ancient human war magic. How long has he been doing this now? The captain asked. 5 hours and 17 minutes, came the reply. The book says the meditation can last anywhere from 1 day to several months, depending on how much power the human wants to gain. Other aliens on nearby ships were reading their own old books about humans. The Klaxons had a story about a human warrior who sat still for 10 years, then woke up and conquered an entire galaxy. The Verdani told tales of human monks who could grow new arms and legs just by thinking about it. The Luxari believed that humans who meditated too long turned into beings of pure energy, like themselves. But unlike the peaceful Luxari, these human energy beings were said to feed on the life force of other creatures. All of these stories were wrong. They came from badly translated human movies, books, and religious texts that early alien traders had found and misunderstood. But now, watching Jinho sit perfectly still for hours, every alien in the fleet believed the stories were real. His brain activity is changing again, the science officer reported. The patterns are becoming even more regular. I think he is entering the final stage. Inside Jinho's mind, something much simpler was happening. The breathing exercises were working. The terrible sadness about losing his friends was still there, but it no longer felt like it would crush him. He could think about Minsu's silly jokes without breaking down. He could remember Cheong's bright smile without feeling destroyed. This was exactly what the meditation was supposed to do. It did not make the pain go away, but it helped him carry the pain without being overwhelmed by it. But as Jinho's grief became more manageable, his body relaxed even more. His breathing became so regular it sounded like a machine. His heart rate dropped to levels that would worry a human doctor but were perfectly normal for deep relaxation. To the watching aliens, this looked like the final preparation for something terrible. "Captain," the communications officer called out. "We are getting messages from the other ships in our fleet. They want to know if they should start evacuating the sector." The captain looked at the screens showing Jinho's peaceful face. The human looked so calm, so still, so dangerous. "Not yet," the captain decided. "But have all ships prepare for immediate hyperspace jump. If the human shows any sign of waking up, we run." More alien ships kept arriving to see the legendary event. News had spread across half the galaxy now. Some aliens came to witness history. Others came to rescue any survivors they could find. A few brave alien scientists tried to scan Jinho with their most advanced equipment. They found that his body was healing small injuries faster than normal. This was just because he was relaxed and his natural healing was working better, but the aliens thought it proved he was becoming superhuman. "The transformation has begun," one scientist reported to his ship. The human's cellular regeneration rate has increased by 12%. Soon he will be able to regrow lost body parts and survive in space without a suit. Meanwhile, Jinho was thinking about space whales. He remembered how peaceful they looked as they swam between the stars. How their songs could be heard across entire solar systems. How the baby whales played in the light of distant suns while their mothers watched protectively. He missed studying them. He missed his quiet life of watching and learning. He missed his friends who had shared that peaceful work with him. The captain made his decision. After 6 hours of watching, he had to act. The human was clearly preparing for something big. Maybe if he showed respect and offered tribute, the human would spare their ship. Slowly, carefully, the massive alien captain began to walk toward the small, still figure in the center of his bridge. The big alien captain moved very slowly toward Jinho. His purple tentacles shook with each step. The other aliens watched from their hiding spots behind control panels and doorways. Everyone was afraid, but their captain had to do something. 6 hours had passed since the human started his meditation. According to their old books, this was when humans became most dangerous. The captain knew he might die, but he had to try to save his crew. He stopped 3 feet away from Jinho and lowered his huge body to the floor. His tentacles spread out in a gesture that meant respect in Zephyrian culture. "Great Still Hunter," the captain said through his translator. "I am Captain Songyun of the Zephyrian fleet. I offer you everything we have. Our ships, our worlds, our lives. Please show mercy when you finish your meditation." Jinho's eyes opened slowly. He looked confused and tired. The captain held his breath, waiting for the human to show his terrible power. "I just want to go home," Jinho said quietly. The captain's eyes went wide. In his culture, when a great warrior said such simple words after a long meditation, it meant they had achieved perfect wisdom. It meant they were choosing mercy over revenge. "Of course, Great One," the captain said, his voice shaking with relief. "We will take you home immediately. We will give you our fastest ship. Anything you need." Jinho rubbed his face with his hands. He felt better now. The breathing exercises had helped him deal with his sadness. He was still very upset about losing his friends, but the crushing pain had become something he could carry. "Thank you," he said simply. "I just need to get back to Earth." The aliens thought this was the most amazing thing they had ever heard. Here was a human who could supposedly destroy planets, and all he wanted was to go home. Surely this proved he was the wisest being in the galaxy. Within 1 hour, the aliens had prepared their best ship for Jinho. It was small but very fast, with enough food and fuel to reach Earth in just 2 weeks. They loaded it with gifts, rare metals, beautiful crystals, and alien art. They also gave him complete star maps of their territory and promises of safe passage through all Zephyrian space. "Tell your leaders we wish for peace," Captain Songyun said as Jinho prepared to leave. "The Zephyrian people will always be friends to humans." Jinho nodded, still not understanding why these aliens were treating him like royalty. He just wanted to go home and report what had happened to his research ship. As his new ship jumped to hyperspace, messages spread across the galaxy faster than light. The human Still Hunter had shown mercy. He could have destroyed the Zephyrian fleet but chose peace instead. Every alien race that heard the story was amazed. 2 weeks later, Jinho arrived at Earth to find crowds of reporters waiting for him. Somehow news of his diplomatic victory had reached Earth before he did. The government officials who met him were very excited. "Jinho," said Minister Jaiwan from the Department of Space Affairs, "you have achieved something incredible. For the first time in history, alien civilizations are asking to make peace treaties with us. They want to trade with us, learn from us, and work together." Jinho was confused. "I didn't do anything special. I just sat there." "That's exactly what made it so amazing," the minister replied. "The aliens are calling you the peaceful warrior. They say you have shown them the power of human wisdom." Over the following months, Earth received messages from dozens of alien races. They all wanted to establish peaceful relationships. They offered trade agreements, shared technology, and cultural exchanges. Some even asked if humans could send meditation teachers to help solve conflicts on their worlds. The government asked Jinho to become Earth's first ambassador to alien civilizations. He accepted, but only on one condition. He wanted to teach others how to handle stressful situations without fighting. "The aliens think meditation is some kind of weapon," Jinho explained to the officials. "But really, it just helps you think clearly when everything goes wrong. If we can teach that to everyone, humans and aliens, maybe we can prevent more wars." The Earth government created the Institute for Peaceful Contact. Jinho became its first director and head teacher. Students came from all over Earth to learn what the media called Diplomatic Meditation Techniques. Jinho's first class had 30 students, diplomats, soldiers, scientists, and regular people who wanted to learn. He started the class the same way his grandmother had taught him. Sit comfortably, he told them. Close your eyes. Breathe in slowly for 4 counts. Hold it for 4 counts. Breathe out for 4 counts. When your mind wanders, just bring it back to your breathing. That's all there is to it. One student raised her hand. Sir, is it true that this technique can make us superhuman? Jinho smiled. No, it won't make you superhuman. But it might make you more human. It helps you stay calm when everything is chaos. It helps you think clearly when you're scared or angry. Sometimes that's the most powerful thing you can do. The student looked disappointed. But the aliens think we're incredibly powerful because of this. Let them think that, Jinho replied. Fear of our imaginary power brought them to the peace table. Our real power, the ability to stay calm and choose wisdom over violence, will keep us there. Years later, human meditation teachers worked on alien worlds throughout the galaxy. The technique that Jinho's grandmother had learned from an old village monk had become the foundation for the first truly peaceful galactic civilization. And it all started because one sad man needed to sit quietly and breathe.